What are the potential legal and financial risk of transferring my house to my children?
Well, it depends. If you want to still live in that house, you could lose access to it, which could be a big thing, and you could lose the value of it, which could be a big thing. We get asked all the time, right, whether people should transfer their house into their children's name. I think it's because they either are afraid of paying for nursing care or because they think it'll help their children with taxes. But it's a big decision, and you could wind up be having your child evict you because you're not on the title anymore. Or more realistically, your child could have some sort of financial trouble and use the house as collateral, and there could be a lien on your house or on your child's house, and they could lose it in bankruptcy. So there's all kinds of legal and security ramifications from just putting your house in your child's name. It should be a well thought out process, not just done because you heard somebody say it might be a good idea.
How could this transfer impact my eligibility for Medicaid and other long-term care benefits?
Sure, if you do this knowing that you need to apply for Medicaid and you do it within 5 years of when you do, or even if you don't know you're going to need to apply for Medicaid and your health just takes a wrong turn, if you give away property or assets without getting something of same value in return, they're going to know, when you file the application with the nursing home and for Medicaid, and you're going to be penalized and either have to wait or have some other sort of penalty before Medicaid will kick in. And yeah, so you need to do it as part of a plan.
Okay. What are the tax implications for my children if they receive the house as a gift versus inheriting it?
Sure, if they receive the house as a gift, if there's any appreciation in the house, that will be much worse for them financially. So, say you buy a house for $200,000 20 years ago, and now it's worth $500,000. In Pennsylvania, inheritance tax for children is 4.5%. So they owe like 22.5 in taxes. In New Jersey, there's no inheritance tax for children for the property. Um, if instead they get it as a gift, the $300,000 gain is going to be taxable income. It's going to be put on top of their other income that year. So they'll probably pay at higher rates. So you'd be looking at like the 35 or 37% tax bracket, right? So you're looking at a six-figure tax bill. So it would be 5 times worse to give it to them than for them to inherit it. They'll pay an extra $80,000, $90,000 in that scenario. And some people have a lot more appreciation on their homes than that.
How might my child's financial situation, such as debt or bankruptcy, affect the house if it's in their name?
Sure, if it's in their name, if you give it to them and it's in their name, you no longer have any rights to it, and it is subject to the whims of their creditors. And so, if we talk occasionally, we'll say something. Well, your kid could get greedy and kick you out. That has happened, but I don't think it's a real fear for most people, but it could happen. The bigger thing is like it's one of their assets now, and it's subject to their creditors. And if they have some sort of financial difficulty, and you want to live in that house, that could be a real problem for you.
What alternative strategies can I consider to protect my house for the next generation without transferring ownership?
Sure. So you could buy long-term care insurance. You can come up with a plan, figure out how much you could afford to pay. There's all different types of assisted living places. And, I think that the idea is to come up with a plan, sit down in the clear light of day, talk it over with loved ones and people who actually know what the rules and laws are in this area, right? So, a elder lawyer, a financial advisor, an accountant can all give you some help in different aspects of this and give you some tools so that you know what the actual repercussions are. I think so much of this is um, So much of the thinking in this area by people is because of a bad situation or a story they've heard from somebody where they don't know the full facts and they don't know the full ramifications. And so they'll just be like, oh, I heard Jane down the block lost her house because of blah, blah, blah. And they don't know what the real story is. And so get all of your information together, get your assets and liabilities and income together, come up with a plan, talk to somebody, and it might make sense to put the house in your child's name. It might not make sense. And what might be good for you could be terrible for your neighbor. It really depends on your unique facts and circumstances. You need to know what those are and then talk to an expert and then come up with a plan that you are comfortable with. Seems so straightforward. Like I don't know why this area is the way that it
Hmm.
is, but I think that it stems from the fact that people have, put their lives into their homes and are afraid of losing them to pay for nursing care. And I get that, but there's a lot of myth around this area, and there's bad situations, right? So sometimes people that's all they have is their house, and they have to pay for services somehow, and the house is how they're going to pay for it. So it almost always helps to plan. I can't say that enough.